ancient times, ashes were used to express mourning. Dusting oneself with ashes was the way of expressing sorrow for one's sins and faults. Eventually, ashes gave way to the wearing of black clothing, and in more recent times, the wearing of a black armband. In the Catholic tradition, the 46-day period of Lent is ushered in with Ash Wednesday, in which the sign of the cross is marked upon the forehead of the parishioners. Ancient Jewish custom also involved the use of ash along with sackcloth. Many of the Nevi'im are recorded as donning the sackcloth and ash upon becoming aware of the impending Churban. Also, Mordechai in the Purim saga donned ash and stationed himself outside the gates of the palace. The Mishnah in Ta'anit Perek 2 describes the communal mourning practices, opening with the words Seder Ta'aniyot Ketzad, what were the protocols for these special days, and then goes on to inform us that Motziin et HaTeva, the Rechava Shal the bima used for the daily, weekly Kriyat HaTorah was brought out and set up in the middle of the town square. V'notnin efer mikla al gabi HaTeva. They would then place a pile of ash upon this bima. Also, ash was placed upon the heads of the community leadership. In the days of the Mishnah, it was the Rosh of Beit Din, the Nasi, and also upon every member of the community. Mourning practices, more than any other activity, are filled with symbolism, and hence the Gemara attempts to plumb the symbolism of the protocols recorded in the Mishnah. The Gemara, Ta'anit 16, Amud Aleph, analyzes the Mishnah. It asks, Lama yotzim l'rechov, why did it have to be done in the main square? Lama motzim et hateva l'rechava, why do they need to bring the bima into the town square? Lama mit kasim b'sakim, what was the symbolism that the community donned sackcloth? Finally arriving at the minhag to place efer mikla al gabi hateva. The Gemara asks, Lama, why? The bima in this entire exercise represented HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the symbolism of placing the ash upon the bima is that not only are the people in a state of mourning, but also HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Gemara goes on to offer two viewpoints as to God's finding himself in a state of mourning. In the first, Amar Rabbi Yehuda ben Pazi, Klomar, the symbolism of the ash upon the bima reflects a pasuk in Tehillim that states, Imo anochi betzara, that God claims, I am with them, the people, in their time of trouble. Resh Lakish Amar, another view is presented by Resh Lakish, and he quotes the pasuk from Yeshayahu 63, B'chol tzaratam lo tsar. There's a Kriya and a Ketiv on the word lo, Lamed Aleph, Lamed Vav. The Gemara uses the Lamed Vav option, that in all of their troubles and times of persecution, lo, to him, to God, there is also a degree of suffering. As with all points of disagreement recorded in the Gemara, there is an underlying principle that underpin the respective opinions. May I suggest a surface distinction that Tehillim places these words into the mouth of God, whereas Yeshayahu places them into the mouth of a narrator who is talking about God. But we will offer an alternative distinction between the Pasukim of Tehillim and Yeshayahu shortly. The Gemara concludes with an observation from Rabbi Zera that Mereish ki hava chazena lehu l'Rabbanan de yahava efe mikla agabi hachteva. The very first time I saw this process of taking the bima out into the street, covering it with ash, mizdazei ali kuli gufai. My entire body trembled and I was struck with convulsions on account of the overwhelming image that was before me. The point of the Gemara is that within Judaism, and once again a faith statement, that when the Jews suffer communally, God is with them in their suffering. And this is precisely the interpretation that Rashi provides to the Eheyeh Asher Eheyeh response, Eheyeh Imam, I am with them. And furthermore, not just with them geographically, but with them b'tsarazot, as they endure persecution and suffering. This is reflected in the pasuk of Tehillim, Imo anochi b'tzara. And the Rebbe then goes one step further, that not only has God not distanced himself from them, which as a postscript is one of the underpinnings of Christian belief vis-a-vis the Jews and the Churban Beit HaMikdash and the acceptance of Jesus as the Messiah, but also their suffering is my suffering, as reflected in Yeshayahu, V'chol tzaratam, in all of their troubles and persecutions, lo tsar. Not only are they suffering, but also God himself, Kaviyachol, finds himself in a state of pain and angst. This The Rebbe reads into the words of Rashi as he interpreted the response of Eheyeh Asher Eheyeh. A response seemingly built upon the Gemara in Ta'anit, that their suffering is my